Hello, everyone. It is that time of year. It is the time of year where we cover a fictional fishing destination that has no purpose whatsoever, but I just enjoy doing this, so why not? So, in this podcast, I'm going to be covering how to travel to Hoenn, not necessarily what to do in Hoenn in itself, because you have to go outside of it, but how to travel to Hoenn, and also how to fish for the Carvanah. Now, let's go into it. Okay, so for those of you who don't even know what is a Carvana, for those of you who don't even know what Pokemon is, let me go into it. In Pokemon, there is a Pokemon called Carvanah, and essentially, it lends itself to be a sport fish. It is a very toothy, quick, aggressive Pokemon that is seen throughout both show and game. So that is just a basic for those of you who don't know what it is, and that is why it is the perfect candidate for this. Something that is too much like a carp, like a Magikarp. I thought about that doing that as a podcast, but the problem with doing the Magikarp is that it's too much of a carp style fishing, and I wouldn't be able to know anything about how to carp fish because I don't actually carp fish. I love to learn how to carp fish, but I just don't. And I don't think being able to, I don't think it really works. You can't really bow fish for a Magikarp if you're not capturing it. It doesn't really work that way. So, in this podcast, I said before, how to get to Hoenn, how to fish for Carvanah. So, you got to fly into Marvel City, and Marvel is basically toward the very bottom of the river. Now, essentially, what happens is in Marvel in itself, there isn't a whole lot to do because Game Freak just doesn't put a whole lot in their old games for each city. That's just the way it is. So, you just gotta basically, but essentially where Marvel sits is perfect because it is toward the base of the, or toward the mouth of the river. So essentially, if you just hike up a little bit, you can go find your Carvanah. Now I'm gonna go talk about what gear you're gonna need, what rod, reel, line, everything. So, and just so you guys know, if you're ever curious, link down below is the page I use for all this stuff, and I roughly base my ideas on this off that. So, you're going to need obviously rod, reel, and line. What are you gonna need? You're gonna need like a heavy casting set. You're gonna something you can throw lures with, but is comfortable enough to throw lures with, but you also don't want to have a big game outfit in a river. So, with that in mind, and also these Carvanah are known to sit in cover and structure spots. So, with that being said, you're gonna want something that's like a calico bass outfit. The 50 to 65 pound braid, or like a frogging setup is for largemouth guys, a 50 to 65 pound braid, a pool cue of a rod that goes with it, and a gutsy reel that can handle the job. Because understand, some of these fish can be 20 pounds, 25, even 30 pounds. So you want something that can be that has a shot at handling a fish that big, but in the idea that you only hook 10 and 12 pounders, it should be perfectly fine. And they'll usually run toward open water. So don't need to worry about it trying to muscle out a 30-pound fish on the setup. You can loose down and drag them bit. So, rod, reel, line, and leader. I would say minimum, probably about a 40 pound leader. The reason for it is just because one is a very toothy fish. You do not want something to be biting through light line. That's numero uno. Numero dos is you're also dealing with something that's around cover. So the same idea as to why you throw 40 or 30 at minimum. No, why you throw say 20 at minimum for like inshore calicos. You can muscle a calico out of a kelp bed or out of a boiler rock. The same idea is going to be taken to this. Only difference though is these fish are just larger on average. So you're going to want the right line to handle it. On top of that, or you could go with the other option. You go with like a heavy steel leader and just use a short steel leader instead. These fish are not very line shy, so don't worry about that. And now that you have your leader, you're basically good to go. Now, as for lures that work, these things are essentially aggressive ambush predators, as stated in the article, as stated in the piece below. So essentially, when they're aggressive ambush predators, hard reaction baits is the way to go. Spinner baits, hard jerk baits, top waters, and if you get one on top water, that is fun. Come up and blast it, boom, it'll hit it. So when you throw out that top water, definitely a lot of fun. Have that in mind. So heavy reaction baits, you want something that, and you don't want something that's pretty light because they can handle a decent sized bait. They can handle a 5, 6 inch bait without a problem. And also have in mind that, like I said, these fish are not shy very much. So they're going to be coming up and smacking it. And on top of that, you essentially have, like I said, very toothy fish. So you could try using a soft plastic, like your soft plastic fluke, a soft plastic swim bait, but it's just not going to work that well because it's kind of like fishing for other toothy fish with a soft plastic. Yeah, you can use it, may only last you a fish or two, but do you really want to burn through a bunch of plastics in a place you may not be able to find what you're used to having? Meh. So yeah, so essentially that you want 7 to 8. Now going back to the gear for a moment, you want 7 to 8 foot rod. So because you want something that has enough control with it that you can make decent target casts. You also want that has enough length. You can keep your distance. You can hit spots further down the river. And essentially, now we're gonna get into how to actually fish for these Carvanah. Now, I have a couple of notes that I grabbed on my trip. Now, understand these. Now, essentially, Carvanah will sit in schools. That's the way they'll set up. So they're kind of like fishing for like small barracudas. Only difference these things are 20 pounds. So what you're looking at is you're looking at fishing. They're loosely associated with cover, and they're schooling fish. That is the key to it. When you hike up this river, you'll find a hole in the river, right? They'll sit. You'll have a whole school. They'll sit more or less in the bottom of that hole because all the currents can be pushing in there. So any bait or any small bait fish are gonna go into that spot and they'll get stuck against the back of that hole. Or you can look for like an eddy, and there'll be like if you look for say like some grass or sticks around an eddy, that's another way to go find them. So once you have your spot, you can try to cast the outside of it so you don't get hung up with a hard bait, obviously, because two treble hooks or two big old single hooks we modify on a hard bait are not gonna do very well when it counters a giant weed bed. It's just the way it is. And you can't use your weedless plastics because they will not last very long. You have to have that in mind. You are not using weedless baits. Maybe the spinner bait, if you can somehow get a spinner bait through the grass and you could do that, that might work. But then you also have to muscle the 20-pound fish out of it. Versus if you were to hook it on the outside of that grass, if you're hooked on the outside of the cover, but they'll still come up and hit it, then you can still basically steer them out and you can fight them in open water. And it's much easier to fight on a bass setup, a Carvanah in open water, than it is in the middle of sticks and grass. Dock pilings, like they'll be loosely available dock pilings in the shade on like a bridge or something, is another great spot to look for them. And that is more or less it. They're just your general ambush predator. They have there's no real like affiliation with they basically more or less hide in the relative area of cover structure. They'll find whatever's there. Other great things. Flash, if you have flash on a hard bait, great idea. Couple reasons for it. One, flash is a good distance bait. Now, if you haven't seen it, I did a whole podcast called Swipers versus Gulpers. Carvanah would very much sit in the swiper category. They're going to basically see something from a distance. They're going to see that flash, that cue of a bait, and they're going to come up and try to do a quick snap at it and go right back into their wherever they used to, and basically move back and dash back to wherever they were. So if you have like a very flashy like hard jerk bait or the spinner bait, for example, like a flashy top water, like a silver type, like a silver color, like the oh, it's like a chrome, excuse me, like the chrome color like walking bait. Those are good. Um, Now as far as like where in the river they'll sit, like how quick the water, mm, they only difference is maybe how aggressive they'll react to your bait because they'll move quicker in a quicker river system, obviously. But other than that, you can find them slow water, quick, fast moving water in the river. But that's pretty much it. If you guys like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and let me know some other fictional traveling podcasts you want me to go ahead and do for the next sport fish idea. All right, tight lines, guys.